This week at Outside Reviews, we got the 2025 Volvo EC40 Black Edition. Let's go. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, guys. So to kick off this review, we're going to do like Ryan Reynolds always says, maximum effort. Oh, yes. I love that electric acceleration, and it's not tamed, right? Because you have some EVs that are tamed. I find the General Motors EVs, I find their acceleration is more tamed.
Instantly pinned to my seat.
Instantly. I want to be pinned to my back seat if I want to, right?
That's the fun. To me, that's the fun of these things. You can go as fast as you want when you want.
Exactly. So guys, the 2025 Volvo EC40 Black Edition. So the Black Edition is the new thing, and they added an E. So some people might wonder, like, is this a new model? No, it's the C40. They just put EC40 because, in all honesty, their name thing was all very confusing. It's like, oh, we're reviewing the XC40. Well, are you reviewing the XC40 gas or the XC40 Recharge? And if you're reviewing the XC40 Recharge, is it the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid, or the electricity? Well, you know, it's the P8. All right, just simplify it.
EC40.
EC40 for this one, EX40 for the, you know, the more SUV looking one, and that goes in line with the EX90, which is their big luxury SUV. But new to this year, Black Edition. Brian, how do you like the look of it?
I love the look of this thing from the outside. I walked up to it, and it's eye-catching from every angle. And the cool thing too, the Black Edition, it's got this. The cool thing about this Black Edition here, it's got the onyx black paint. So we were looking at it earlier, it was a little kind of cloud cover, which is great for filming. And then the sun peeked through, and then you see that kind of, there's like an undercoat glint to it, kind of a greenish tint. So that really caught my eye. I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah, so what they did extra is, obviously the car's black, and it's onyx black paint, and you know, the badging, all the badging is black, but the wheels in particular, they got a new design, and it's completely all black, and it makes it look, you know, MacGyver like to me, a little bit more aggressive, definitely some attitude to it. I mean, you guys take a look at the images. You know what, I didn't like cleaning it, but I definitely, once it's clean, it definitely is a looker.
Yeah, it shines nicely. This thing is beautiful from the outside.
But underneath the hood, what we have, since is you got to go with the Ultra. So obviously the trims go from Core, Plus, and Ultra. We have the Ultra with the Black Edition. So that gives us 402 horsepower and 494 pounds-feet of torque. The battery size is 79 kilowatt size battery. So you can charge 10 to 80% in about 28 minutes. Charging rate is 200 kilowatt hour. 0 to 60 time, like we just tried, is 4.7 seconds. Definitely a fast car. Range wise, 431 kilometers or 268 miles. But you can get a performance upgrade. So it's a software upgrade, and it's going to give you 436 horsepower. I don't see the need for it.
I mean, if you want it, it's available, but this thing, it goes as is. And again, electrics, they're, generally speaking, you're going to get all that power that you need right away, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know what, I think the 402 horsepower is ample enough, and so much torque that it pins you to your seat. Yeah. So they didn't change the torque figures, and it's a software upgrade. Like I said, I don't think there's a need for the performance upgrade on this vehicle.
But it's there if you want it.
Yeah. Now, as we take a look at the overall look, obviously you're gonna look at the back end as well. It's got the black badging and all that stuff. Cargo space, pretty okay. I mean, it is a coupe kind of thing. Like, we reviewed this C40 last year, so not much has changed to the configuration and size. Actually, nothing has changed in the configuration and size. So you're still looking at 17.3 cubic feet with the seats up, and 42.6 cubic feet with the seats down. It's not bad.
No, that's not bad, but I think I remember that being one of our comments when we did the C40 last year, is that, you know, from the outside you can see a little bit of the curve, but once you actually get in, you realize how much of a You're losing a little bit of trunk space and head space in the back. It's not a
do,
deal breaker
yeah.
by any means, but
It does have the pass through.
it does have a
Good
pass
for
through.
my
Yep.
hockey sticks.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys can see it in the background. I think you can. I got hockey practice after this, so. So great for a hockey stick. I can fit my whole hockey bag in there. It's not bad, but it is on the smaller side for a compact SUV.
Yes.
So Brian, I put you in the back seat.
Yeah. As far as leg room there, 36.1 inches. That was ample leg room for me. I'm about 5'11".
Mm-hmm. How'd you find the headroom?
Headroom, that's again, so I had maybe an inch or two of clearance there. It was comfortable. We've definitely seen vehicles that are a little more boxy in the back, will give you a little more of that headroom. But again, 5'11", I had no complaints. I could sit back there a few hours and have a pretty comfortable drive.
Yeah, they have their own vents as well, and you do have heated outboard seats, but the seats don't recline, and I don't think I would with that slanted roof anyways.
No, I don't think you could get any further backwards sitting in the back seats. But again, with the leg room and the other adjustments that you can make back there, you can still get pretty comfortable.
Yeah. And this takes us to basically the front where we're sitting right now. Hi. And nothing has changed as far as the front aesthetics, and I kind of wish it did, because this is where I'm gonna penalize this car. Volvo's not gonna like me for it. This is not gonna go well. But here where it does go well is I have a 12-inch driver information cluster, 100% digital. I got a nice clear map, and some of the new things that are recent to the Volvo information clusters, when I have a route plotted, now it gives me my expected time and arrival and distance in there, which before it didn't used to. It used to be just a map, right? And I like that it gives me the information as far as percentage of battery and range. Now we talked about range, and I'm gonna have this discussion right now. 431 kilometers is a little bit on the optimistic side from what I've been driving. Now, it is a bit late in the fall, so here we do get freezing temperatures. It was 0 degrees Celsius this morning when I woke up. But 268 miles, I think you're pretty much gonna be a little bit below that. You'd have to be extremely conservative.
Very conservative in ideal conditions, but again, that's usually how the EPA estimates work, is ideal conditions. I think though, honestly, I was playing with the configurations earlier, and it was saying about 410 on a max charge was an estimate, and that's plenty of range.
I think you can get 400 kilometers. I think, even the way I've been driving, which is,
exciting.
On the fun side. And I gotta test it, right?
Exactly.
But needless to say, I have also done 300 kilometers of highway driving, which is not good for an EV. They don't like it. And now I'm at 390 kilometers, so I've only done like 90 kilometers of rural / town, city-ish driving. So I think 400 kilometers definitely attainable on a full charge. And if you're going to be around 80% charge, you're going to be around 350. I think is about fair.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely something to consider. But mentioning the temperatures earlier, one thing I did notice is this model comes with a heat pump. So something to consider in the winter. There, we have discussed this on some of the other EVs we've reviewed.
Ford Mustang doesn't have a heat pump
Exactly. So I mean, you could lose up to 30% battery life right there.
You do.
In colder weather. So that's something also to consider. That's a plus for me.
Speaking of colder weather, my windows were all frosted up this morning. Like I said, it was freezing temperature. And you guys are actually seeing this like 2 weeks after we recorded it. So we started freezing pretty early here.
Yeah.
And I like that my vehicle was plugged in. And I went in the vehicle, pressed the defrost and the defrost on the front windows and the back windows and the temperature settings, and that way it doesn't use the car battery. My battery was still like at 100% charge by the time I got in, but the vehicle was warm. Disconnect, boom. So you're using your house power to warm up your vehicle, and then you just take off and you still have 100% battery.
You got all your range left.
Definitely love that.
Yeah, that's a great feature.
Yeah, so that's basically where we're at for range and such. Speaking of, back to the interior, steering wheel feels really good. You said you drove it as well. It's pretty light. I'd say I agree with it's light, but it also it's a nice size. It's 40 size, and as far as buttonry, we do have some hard buttons on there, which I can appreciate. So volume selection next, and you got your cruise control. And cruise control does have lane centering and advanced cruise control, and it works as expected. You do have to keep your hands on. It doesn't have a hands-free system for over here, and you have your lights selection and your wiper stocks. So everything else is kind of like traditional in that sense, and that's because it shares the platform with the Gaslight XC40.
We've even got a start-stop button here where traditionally you'd have the push start.
Yeah, it's just blank.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that annoys me, and Brian was like, well, it could go either way. So there is no push start button and all that stuff. It's basically you get in, your butt activates it when you're sitting in. So, everything turns off when you get out. And from the YouTuber's perspective, it's a pain in the ass because we can't just keep the lights on and like have all the electronics on, the screens on without somebody sitting in it. But I actually would prefer a start-stop button. Where are you on that?
I don't really see a need for it. If this was my normal use vehicle, I completely agree with you. It's kind of a pain
because you can defrost it without sitting in it. I've tested that this morning.
Yeah, that we were playing with as well.
Yeah, so you can turn on the fan and everything, and then leave the car and it'll stay on and such. So that's something I really wanted to test on, because I'm like, if it doesn't, then obviously you can do it with the app, but this is a press vehicle. I'm not downloading the app and registering and all that stuff because I'm not the owner. So that's one of the downsides we have here. But I would prefer a start-stop button. I don't know. Comment below what you guys would prefer. Do you like your butt to activate the vehicle, or do you prefer a start-stop button? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, right? A little time out here. We're just two military guys doing car reviews. We're a very small channel, and we do outside the box. We're going to tell you, basically, we have no affiliation whatsoever, so it's going to be honest reviews from a military perspective, and like and subscribe. Moving on from there, then this is where it gets bad.
Interior points. So
this is a 9-inch vertical touchscreen, and I need at least 12, Brian. I need at least 12 inches, especially for a luxury brand.
So as far as the screen itself goes, like the screen quality and the interface, everything works well. There's Google integrated, so you can log in and use all that, or Apple.
You can use Apple CarPlay, but you have to plug in. You have to wired Apple CarPlay in a luxury brand. Don't like it. Not good enough.
That's what I was trying to spit out.
Oh,
so
I didn't know.
No,
you're trying to do something. Either you're having a stroke or you're trying to say something. I was kind of concerned, so I stepped in.
Typical. But yeah, I agree with you. I was surprised it was a little bit of a smaller screen. 12.3 inch for the driver cluster is a decent size, and you see everything here. I was a little surprised to see it was a little smaller, and I found too, I said this when I got in it this morning, kind of looked around, like, it's a nice interior, but for a $75,000 vehicle, a high-end luxury vehicle, I just thought there'd be a little more pizzazz to it.
Yeah, and this screen, when we go in reverse, I find that, because you can, so it's split, they split the screen in half, right? So you have your rear camera, and then you have just the car in the black screen. They should have put that car in the all-around view. Now you can click with your fingers and push and go 360 view, but you can't have 360 view as well as the reverse view, and that just annoys me.
It was an odd choice, and I thought that too, especially considering how tricky it is to see out the back.
I can barely see anything. Visibility in this vehicle is not the best for the rear, because obviously you have such a small window.
Yep.
And when you're looking in the back, but if you're looking through the rear view mirror, even because everything looks a little bit like further at that point, it's a lot worse. So I would expect, you know what, I think a 12-inch screen where if they show you both the 360 view and the rear camera view, And speaking of which,
and the camera quality could be a little bit better. But yes, I see you point into the mirror, and that was one of my thoughts too.
General Motors and a lot of other brands have this switch where it goes to the rear camera on the rear view mirror. If any vehicle would to benefit from that, this would be it. But it does not.
Candidate. Yeah.
It does not have it.
Because that would give you a good, wide, clear view from everything that's come behind. We have used it in other vehicles that we've done test drives on.
If you look at the Polestar, was it the 3 or the 4? One of the newer Polestars. They have a a coupe look, and they have a completely wide out window. There's no window. No rear window.
Yeah, you can't see through the back of it.
But they made it that there's a camera up there.
Yeah.
Replacing that. I think they should have done that with this vehicle for 2025.
Yeah. Maybe next year, Volvo. We'll keep an eye out for it.
Absolutely. But moving down from there, from the screen and all that stuff, like I said, the screen responds very well, and I like the Google interface that it plots your route. And if you have a long distance route in an area you're not familiar with, easy enough, it'll plot where you charge and everything. So that is one of the best systems in that sense. I still maintain that. I like it. It's very good. I don't like that you have to plug in if you want to use Apple CarPlay, but like I said, it does have a wireless charger, and it does have some buttons. It has volume control, and it has tracks next and previous, and your defrost button and your hazard light. So, and I just think that a nice bigger screen with some toggles, would be good.
I think maybe for next year, they're probably trying to put this car together and get it on the market, specifically for the EV segment. But I mean, most car companies are going to build off a platform they already have. So we see that some of that crossover here. And I think if next year they kind of said, all right, this is going to be a true electric, let's build it from the ground up. These are some of the things they could definitely implement that would make it a little more on point for my taste anyway.
And if I'm looking at the shifter, I like the shifter. It's an electronic shifter. But because this shares the platform of internal combustion engine, you don't get the benefit of having a nice big storage underneath it. And as a matter of fact, in the back seat, something that I just forgot to mention is you get that bump in it, as if there's
where
like a drive shaft, right?
Yeah.
So, they could have done better. They could have done a little bit of a flatter ground and all that stuff. But as far as shifter, cup size, everything fits, everything is good. Quality of material, I think too much piano black. I like this. It's just regular plastic, but it lights up in the back. But like you said about the interior, it doesn't give you a luxury vibe.
Again, I thought it would pop. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with this interior. It's a nice interior. It's well built, well put together. But I just thought they would be a little more luxurious when you're in this price point. And to be honest with you, that's what I was expecting. So I mean, we've got some soft plastics up here. The insert here is hard plastics.
It does light up, but it's not giving you anything that any other EV is giving you, like ambient lighting. Okay, yeah, they all give you that.
I feel like there was kind of a mix here. So you've got some of the more traditional components that we would have seen in an ICE vehicle, but then there's also some of the finer elements that you get. I mean, like the speakers, Harman Kardon system.
Oh, it's very good. It is very good.
The seats are, Napa leather, fine stitch. They're very comfortable. Yeah. The headrests in the rear seats have electric fold downs. So like there's certain elements here they've clearly gone above and beyond.
You're nailing it in the fact that where I feel that premium feeling is in the ride quality, first of all.
Yes.
The acceleration, absolutely. Handling, 100% down steering, everything about the drivability, except for visibility, which we touched. I mean, these pillars here, the B pillars are enormous. But everything except, everything to do with drivability, premium. In soundproofing, very quiet.
Very quiet, right?
Extremely quiet. Everything's stable. Everything's comfortable. The seats are this really expensive suede kind of material. The seats are extremely comfortable, and the thigh extender was something that I didn't know I needed it until I had it, right? But it is extremely comfortable on that long road trip. That thigh extender, just you're resting your leg even more. Definitely comfort, driving, luxury, premium feel. But and obviously there's speaker, but it kind of stops there when you're touching and you're looking at piano black way too much piano black. And we review all kinds of car, and we reviewed a General Motors the other day that had no piano black and had 3 kinds of fabric in the seats, and everything was soft touch where you're touching and everything. But it's not even a premium brand, right? It was a GMC.
There's a lot of competition out there. So I know Volvo they take more of a slightly more minimalist approach to their interiors too. They don't want to overdo it with...
So does Tesla, and they just got booted off of the luxury brand segment.
Well, I mean, that's the balancing act, right? Is you've got to find the right combination of materials and tech and comfort to keep that luxury price tag worthwhile, to make it worthwhile to the average purchaser. So this is drivability. I mean, this thing is so much fun to drive.
Oh, your range. The reason why I say it's going to be hard to attain is it's hard to drive this car, which is nice and compact, nice and stable. Everything balances out, and extremely good steering without going like this.
You just want to go.
It just wants to go, right? And like I said, the tires have really good traction. Everything checks off as far as driving this vehicle. Like I said, driving this vehicle is where you're going to feel the premium quality of it. Nothing is loose. Everything is nice and tight. Everything is nice and built really well, soundproofed. And it does have a front trunk, which I've used when I did my groceries and stuff. I had steak and all that stuff, and put it in there. And the front trunk is a decent size. It's you can definitely store some cables and maybe a couple things like I don't know, a couple of shoe boxes. Let's put it that way.
Whatever won't fit in the back.
Whatever won't fit in the back. And the back is kind of cool because it also has that thing that you can prop up. And it's got hooks for a grocery bag, so you can hang up a grocery bag.
Yeah,
cool.
There's a little bit of customization in the back that you can move things around and open up a few slots for extra space and storage. So yeah, it's
definitely attention to detail is on the premium side. I'm just saying the choice of material inside doesn't reflect that. Now, of the things we haven't mentioned yet, it is capable of towing 2,000 pounds, which is pretty good. It's respectable. I mean, we had a hybrid the other day that's bigger than this and can only tow 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So 2,000 pounds is really respectable in the EV segment. Like I said, it does have a frunk. I appreciate that.
One thing I have noticed about some EVs, and this is one of them, is when you're buying them, you may want to consider the tire sizes. Now, we got 2 different sets of tires on here. They're 235. The width is 235 in the front. It's 255 in the back. They're 20-inch rims, so you obviously get the blacked out rims and everything with the black package. But it's just, again, tires on EVs, it's probably going to be one of those areas where it may cost you a little bit more than a conventional ICE. But they're doing what they're supposed to do. That extra weight and the extra grip and everything is definitely being compensated for because this thing handles very nicely.
I'm surprised how comfortable it is considering that it's like 21-inch wheels.
Yeah.
If you watch the channel, you know I'm not a big fan of large size wheels. I want more rubber for more comfort and more efficiency. That being said, though, you do have the rear wheel drive, so the single motor one. And if you want the specs of that, well, I'm just going to give them to you now. So the rear view drive single motor is going to give you 248 horsepower and 310 pounds-feet of torque. Not too shabby on the torque, especially. 297 miles of range, or 477 kilometers. But you're losing out on the 0 to 60 time. It's 6.5 seconds, so that is almost 2 full seconds slower. But I had a rear-wheel drive C40 in the spring, and it's plenty. It's still plenty. This is way more fun. This makes you want to raise that little Mach-E next to you, which is always a good feeling. All right, Brian, so I can't finish the video without talking a little bit about competition. So I'm going to compare apples to apples, so I'm going to keep it in the luxury brand segment. I'm leaving Tesla out of it because it's no longer in the luxury brand segment, and it's my video, so I can do that. That being said, I've got the Genesis GV60, and I've got the Audi Q4 e-tron. I'm comparing those because they're relatively in the same size. I mean, the Cadillac Optic's not out yet, so the Cadillac Lyric's way bigger than this vehicle. Yep. And this vehicle is pretty compact, and those are the vehicles I came up with. And here's where I stand, right? As far as drivability, this one definitely on par. I don't know if it beats out any of them, but you know what? I would give it maybe the edge. Price-wise, they're basically all around the same price. So that's why I also picked vehicles that are roughly priced the same. But I think that the GV60 from Genesis gives you a more luxurious interior. And that the Audi Q4 e-tron, however, does not give you a more luxurious interior. I find it slightly more practical, and it does offer more space. It doesn't offer a frunk, but it still offers more cargo space. But they're roughly about priced the same. Aesthetically pleasing, I'm giving this one the #1 spot. It is the best looking vehicle, especially with the Black Edition.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. This is probably my favorite looking one from the outside.
100% my favorite looking one. And practicality, I prefer the Q4 e-tron over it. Range, this is, the Genesis is going to beat them on range. Okay, so I'll give that. It's just, it is what it is.
Can't change the facts.
But yeah, so nicer interior in Genesis and more practical with the Audi Q4 e-tron. Overall, this does pretty well, but if they were to refine the interior, I think it could easily take that top spot, especially since they're improving the range every single year.
Okay, so the big question between the three, and specifically for this one, what are we talking about price-wise?
That's right, I haven't talked about the price-wise. So in Canada, this one is $75,000. Hurts a bit. And in the US, it's about $65,000.
So, I mean, that's pretty much what you could expect for the luxury vehicle segment, especially when you're getting into the EVs. And, despite our couple of gripes about the interior here, I think you're still getting quite a bit of tech, quite a bit of performance here, and quite a bit of car overall. So, pretty satisfied with what you get for what you're paying for, especially looking at the competition.
And I've been covering my pros and cons as we've been going through, but if you guys want me to sum it all up, pros is obviously it looks nice and it drives nice. It's extremely quiet, extremely comfortable. Cons is, yes, it has the tech as far as you're looking at the Google built-in integrated and the nice 12-inch driver information cluster. However, the screen size, it's lackluster, and the overall interior appeal, too much piano black. And that's basically my pros and cons. I think price-wise, as much as I don't like high-priced vehicles, I mean, this is on par with what else is being offered out there. I mean,
the price point across the board is going up. We know this for a fact.
Visibility is terrible, and the camera system. The screen, the way they use it, if they had a bigger screen, they could integrate like the 360 and the rear view camera. So, and I'd like to have a rear view camera in the mirror itself. So basically, that's my take on it. You?
I'm gonna definitely agree with you with the my pros. The look of this thing again, and the handling is phenomenal. It just, I have nothing else to say about that. My big con, I think I'd go with the visibility up back, and again, if we had a slightly better camera system, maybe something integrated with a mirror, like you just said.
Yeah, that would go away.
It would totally take care of that rear view issue. So yeah, minor details, but something to consider.
Let us know what you guys think about the video, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Support us in our journey to be billionaires.
YouTube famous.
Oh yes, YouTube famous. So until the next review, we'll see you guys later.
Thanks for watching.